So a couple weeks ago, I went to Manta Trading during the release day for Temporal Forces to pick up my cards, and Yeoman was there, the owner. So we decided to interview him, get his thoughts on the brand new Temporal Forces Pokemon TCG set, along with the upcoming, or now happened, rotation. So enjoy this interview with a local game shop owner. If you guys don't know Manta Trading, it is one of the best card stores in the world, especially for competitive play. It's definitely one of the top stores. I'll be going there this Friday to try and win 3 challenges in a row. And if you guys want to buy any Pokemon cards from Manta Trading, use my promo code SneakerTalk TCG. It saves you 5% off. It also helps me as well. And yeah, enjoy some insight from Yeoman, and I'll catch you guys at the end of the video.
It is a very large player-focused set, and you can feel it with all the cards and mechanics. The Walking Wake one, because the promo that comes with it is the Flutter main promo, and people are using that for any of the ancient decks or any type of engine or to counter or disrupt the Lost Box engine. Personally, I've been trying to build out Goldango. I've had it before in the previous format. I was really happy with once we saw the Cypher Maniac card that helps the engine. It just makes sense, and it sounds like it was going to work really well. And then of course we saw Maximum Belt as one of the very last ice specs to be revealed, and then I just got really sad because now my 260 HP now no longer works as well, and I can just get destroyed by Charizard even easier than it did before. Charizard will be just too good. It just doesn't need to do change too much, which makes it really easier for players to kind of get everything they need to just start playtesting, start putting games through. You already had an idea of how the deck already functions anymore, so you're adding very few cards, so that kind of helps yourself. I think Giratina is also kind of the same idea, right? Like it's really strong. It also gains Maximum Belt to fix some numbers, just to hit crucial numbers for certain Pokemon. Third one, I don't really have anything. It could be like a new deck maybe, but that will probably be dependent on what EUIC results bring. Ancient Box seems to be really interesting because there's a lot of like recovery cards in the format, and then there's a lot of things that can utilize in their new decks. So the ability to just hit 150 for early game if they wanted to, just having a full board, or eventually as the damage starts scaling up. Iron Crown looks really nice just because it's the moon. It felt like very Japanese-ish feeling to it. Chatot with the clothesline and the musical notes. If you looked on Twitter or understood, I won't spoil it. You guys can kind of figure out what the music notes represent or how it sounds like. And a third one, Warrior's Conviction is pretty good. Yeah, that one coming. The fact that they didn't decide to bring him all the way up, or he's just like peeking out of the top. It was just half his body's coming out of the ground. So that was pretty cool, and I'm sure a lot of collectors will definitely want it. Base specs back then, because I saw people playing and expanded. So for me, I saw the usage of it, just like things like Dowsing Machine, Computer Search, those are the most predominant ones. But for me personally, I haven't played or used A-Specs, but throughout the formats we saw that there were things that were one-ofs. So there was like Prism Stars, and then most recently we had Radiant, so now we have A-Specs as well. So there's types of gameplay where we saw like one-ofs of the deck, so they could see their power levels being higher and higher, or just being very good and useful and they're just constantly adding more as the sets roll along. So we'll just have to wait and see. Unfair Stamp that's coming out in the next set seems to be quite silly. We'll see if that makes too much of a difference, but even for now, like Prime Catcher and Maximum Belt feel like they're kind of 50-50 in terms of power level. Prime Catcher just sees more use because it's more applicable, but Maximum Belt seems to be really strong as well. VIP Pass was really interesting just because when it came out, not many people used it, right? Like it was, people figured, okay, it's okay, it's really strong if you get it, but no one thought of putting 4 of. And as the format kind of evolved, everyone it's kind of like a race to the bottom type of thing. It's like, okay, well, if you're using it, I need to use it. And then so now we see almost every deck had 4 VIP passes at one point, or even up until the rotation. That kind of signaled the reason why they had to add it in like league battle decks and stuff like that. Otherwise it would have been really expensive. So Buddy Poffin doesn't seem like too many people are using 4 ofs, but people are definitely needing to use it for decks that have any evolution. So like things that have 70 HP or less as your basic to evolve, you'll definitely need it. I'd say so. The fact that you can use it throughout the throughout the game makes much more of a difference. So even though we might not see too much of Gardevoir, you can see that you could make good use of it throughout the match as you're recovering from Super Rod. Instead of using just like the Fog Crystal or something, you're going to use Buddy Poffins to bring them out as well. Rotation, traditionally, we have known it to be around Worlds. So, but now they've kind of made that effort to kind of push it where it rotates around like base sets, right? So base sets meaning like usually about every 4 sets or so, they do a little like base set. So it will not be a Scarlet Violet base set or Temporal Forces for this format. So like with the letters, they kind of made it a decision where everything moves in those blocks now as opposed to later during the format. So the rotation seems to be a lot more tamer this time around than what I'm used to. It's usually more dramatic, where there's like a lot more influential cards disappearing. But this time it's kind of like you remove a couple things. There's a lot of cards rotating out, but those cards have kind of been like either power crept out or like they're just no longer used or just fallen out of favor. So it's kind of like there was already like a semi-small natural rotation happening as it is. But other than that, they would just remove some like problematic cards that they've kind of like plagued the format, similar to how Drizzle was kind of influencing the last format.
Are there any cards you're excited to see get rotated out?
Yeah, I think VIP eventually got to the point where it just was too polarizing, whether you found 2 of them or you kind of found 1 or none of them, and you can kind of notice that happening. I think once more spread cards disappear, maybe we'll kind of see Manaphy fall out, but now that we've seen a bit of Rapid Strike Urshifu gone, that might change some things, but nothing felt like it was kind of too infuriating in terms of like cards that we've kind of had. I think those ones definitely just limited the deck space that you needed to have, especially with Urshifu, right? So like Urshifu forced Manaphy to in, Radiant Greninja, while it's in this format, forced Manaphy to be in, and while it should be in, it just kind of completely removed that aspect or decks being built to try that out, right? So I can't let's say if I want to play Jolteon VMAX or whatever in that case, but now with Manaphy, I just wasn't able to just because the other cards are there. So yeah.
Just think about that now too. Path to the Peak is rotating out. That was a big deal for a lot of decks. It's big for Giratina.
Path being gone, I guess, is good and bad. If there's any like oppressive abilities that were just always online, then you can kind of see that being, oh well, I wish I had Path or a Path equivalent type of card in the format. But there's not to say that they won't be existing in maybe in a set or 2. Usually, like if it does feel like that, they'll reintroduce it really soon, or if not, then they'll just probably reintroduce it in like 2-3 sets, let's say, instead.
You might make some friends or you might make some enemies. What are your thoughts on Mew VMAX and Mew VMAX getting rotated out?
Okay, maybe I should have mentioned that. I did not like Mew VMAX for being here for that long. It existing was not a problem, but I wished I'd seen more variety in the Mew VMAX decks because they added a couple of cards that kind of like help support what the fusion deck kind of looks like. So like they added like, granted that some of them were very niche in what they do, like the Toxtricity reducing some HP, which was supposedly their way of dealing with the VMAXs, but they never needed that. Then of course, I mean, even recently we saw a bit more use of a Selgor in some a couple months ago, I'd like to say. And then you had Ice Q and sometimes that helped add in Brilliant for sniping. So they had like more tools that existed, but now all we saw was the very hyper aggressive knock you out 210 type of thing with Technoblast, and if not, then we're just pathing you and hoping you can't play the game. So those are the only 2 variants that were so dominant, and respectively so, but I had wished that if we were going to see that much Mew VMAX, it would have more variety in what it would have been able to do. Mew VMAX was and then DTE came out right after, so I think that's what it had made it such an oppressive card. But that does not need to. Hopefully, we don't ever go back to that where a deck is relevant for 2.5 years. I like to say, if that was that long. Luckily for me, I don't play all that much because I have to run the store, and so I don't get the chance to kind of run over to other stores and play and stuff like that. I think Charizard right now is just the other guys having fun most of the time, just because they get stronger as the game progresses. You for the most part can't really control that, right? There's no way to kind of like, I wish I could I take less knockouts to win, right? The only way is like you have to play in mill or whatever to kind of limit the damage. So that has given me a lot, just because I see it. A lot of players go through it, and then a lot of players playing against it, or they have to choose between. If I don't play it, similar to Mew VMAX, it's just like, well, they're gonna play it, so I have to see it any other way. 10 leagues. Have a quick chat with a store owner or whoever, a professor or someone that owns a league or something. It doesn't necessarily has to be a store, just to understand, what type of products to kind of go for, what's available to you at that time. Usually they've done a good job with league battle decks and trainer toolkits. That's my recommendation typically. Here's everything you roughly need. You have a good portion of your trainers that are workable in the current format, and then you can just kind of like adjust which Pokemon you use, and if you're missing certain counts or 4-ofs, start adding or start buying those individual cards separately or from stores, or maybe you're opening packs and you probably already have them, and then now you have 4-of, you're good to go. You have your good base structure. Now you just choose what Pokemon, what play style you want, and then just start adding it to your deck and just start tinkering around and tooling with it. From there on, I'd say either attend a pre-release or just visit some local leagues that they run weekly, right? So weeknights might work for some parents, or even for some people going to school. You'll have that option to kind of like, oh, you're going there for like 2 hours, casual fun, usually. If not free, maybe very like maybe $5 entry fee or something like that. From there on, you kind of branch out, decide if you want to participate in league challenges and stuff, and then your path forward from there. I think you have like some information about that, how to progress. First off, thank you. I mean, there's for the interview, I guess. Unscheduled, unscripted. Just decided to come in when we just released Temporal Forces. So nothing much. It's just like if you're in the GTA community or in the GTA, if you haven't heard about us, because we don't really advertise ourselves. We love to welcome new players of any type, like new players, kids, parents, like you're with their kids and they're just trying to have fun with them. There's time and space. You're standing there waiting for your kid to play. You might as well just try and play, have some fun with it as well. There are some parents that do play with their kids, so that's always good to see. There's more female players that I've noticed too. So if you're shy or whatever the case may be, or you're just worried it's like a very male dominant type of game, it's not. It's like you just have to give yourself that chance and just play. We do have a bunch of local female players that are just I see them enjoy, and then just making sure they feel welcome and included. That's all I can think of at the moment, but I'm sure if I can think of anything else, you can see information either from IG, or I'm sure Christian will share it as well. And aside from that, yeah, thank you.
If you made it to the end of this video, feel free to click on a video on screen if you want to hang out some more, and if you don't, I'll catch you another time. See you later. Have an awesome day.